going to be a little bit more cheeky and a little bit more sassy, okay? So now we're talking about making things a little bit less serious, a little bit more sort of like, you know, presentable and modest and coy, and we're going with a little bit more cheek and sass now. So we've got the upper body, we've got the rear, okay, and I'm also going to speak to you about your lips. Now I'm going to start with the lips one because it's one I absolutely love. Some people go, oh, you know, and it's not their favourite thing on the menu, but that's the one I'm going to lead with because I love it and I think it can be really, really impactful. Now for this I'm going to come in a little bit closer to you because you don't really need to see my feet for this one, but you do need to see my face. So the lick lip, okay? Again, these can be used for sort of like bridging. So if you're putting a performance together or a routine together, sometimes you need something where you can kind of catch your breath or take a moment or fill a few beats in a track. And we would have what we call bridging moves. So something that's quick and quirky, funny and sassy, that we can kind of do without too much effort and stress. So this is the lip lick, and I'm just going to give you a quick demonstration. Yeah? So that is taking your tongue and your, you know, your glare, your eyes, and taking it away and around the body. So it doesn't matter which side you start on, you know, we all have sort of preference that we might go to first. But what you're doing is you're taking that tongue, especially if you're somebody like me that's always liking to have sort of big, bold, bright lipstick on. You're taking that tongue and you're taking it right around the lips in a meaningful manner, because remember, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So you're going to take that tongue from one side to the other, okay, and you're going to take your glaze with you and take your eyes with you in the move, okay. Again, you might make it a little bit quicker, so you might capture somebody's eye in the audience. You might sort of pick on somebody in the audience and sort of, you know, catch them and be like, yeah. You might just take it across the room, depending how much time you're needing to use or how much time you're needing to bridge. So it might be more slow, yeah? But either way, it needs to be impactful. You'll find that once you start doing that, and especially if you do it fairly frequently, you will always have a chapstick or a lip seal or whatever you call it, lip balm, in your bags. Okay? And don't forget your lippy to reapply it as well. So that there is the lip lick. So now I'm just going to take a step back and I'm going to take you on to the upper body. Alright? So we have always got a shimmy and a shake to keep us going, to keep us cheeky, to keep us sassy, and these are brilliant for, like I say, needing to fill some gaps, needing to fill a few beats in a routine, and just kind of getting with the whole burlesque ethos really. And there are a series of ways that you can do this. So you can just go for a standard shimmy where you're kind of just pinning those shoulders back and the movement comes from the shoulder, okay? You're not kind of going like that. You're kind of pinning yourself back and it's like a short wiggle, yeah? A short shimmy, all right? You can get really strong with your shimmy, so you can come forward and come back, or you can lean forward and then sort of move off, all right? But you've got the short shimmy here. You can go really big with your shimmy, but what you are looking to do is keep those shoulders pinned back and let the movement come from the shoulders, okay? Now, some of you may be saying, I don't really have anything there to shake. You know, people will say all sorts, all right? But remember, it's the movement itself. This isn't about, you know, sizes of chests or what's not there or anything like that. It's about creating the movement. So it's about sort of having a bit of confidence and just, it shouldn't matter what is here. It's not about that. It's about creating presence and owning your stage, owning your body, owning your performance. So, you know, don't get het up or kind of blinkered or closed-minded or down on, well, what's going on up here. Focus on the move, yeah? The move will sell it. For those of you that are in a position to, what you could also look at is what we call the boob jiggle, all right? So moving aside slightly from the shimmy, you could get a little bit more purposeful, where you do take your hands at the side of your chest and you kind of get into somebody's face a little bit more, you're leaning into the audience a little bit more, and you're a little bit more, yeah? Audience engagement, bridging gaps, bridging beats in a track, bridging your performance, okay? Quick 2-3 seconds. Yeah? So you've got your shimmy, and then you have got your boob jiggle, okay? And with that, you are predominantly coming in and out from the outside, because then you can kind of scoop it all on up, and you've got control over that, okay? So, shimmy, the boob jiggle, and then we're going to go for this bit here. Okay? Never underestimate the power of your butt. You can do so much with it. So, with your slaps, you can make them individual, yeah? So you could just be literally doing something and then all of a sudden go and give yourself a cheeky slap. You could add it into your moves. So a prime example that we do fairly often is a leg stroke with a slap. So it'll be a stroke and a slap, yeah? So it's almost like, and I'll show you from the side here, we've sort of put ourselves with our leg forward, so the leg that's perhaps facing the audience. We'll fold down, we'll come up with a stroke, like we're priming it, yeah? And then as we get there, we're like, okay? So it's like slow and steady, slap, yeah? The stroke and the slap. You can also do caressing. So you can do it where you're kind of stroking the move. You can roll the hips with it, yeah? You don't have to just stand. You can stand. You could even lead off to the slap from the stand. So you could be stroking and then give it a cheeky slap. You could be rolling your hips. Give it a cheeky slap. All right, just other examples of little bridging moves and little cheeky things that you can do when you're thinking about the world of burlesque and you're thinking about building those core foundations and building those basics of your skill set to then move forward, okay?